name is Jack Larrabee, Special Agent, Federal Investigative Bureau, and I was put in charge of stopping a trio of brutal criminals who for 7 whole days and nights plunged the state of San Andreas into a panic by instituting a mass statewide crime wave of robbery, murder, and wanton terrorism that killed literally hundreds of civilians and law enforcement officers and wounded thousands more, with each day of the spree reading like wartime casualty lists. In this motion picture, you will see what these 3 men did and how the task force I commanded ultimately stopped their reign of terror. First, let's have a look at the 3 individuals behind what is now known as the mass murdering dogs attacks. The story actually began in 2012 when professional assassin Franklin Clinton, then serving to life sentences, escaped from Bolingbroke Penitentiary in the Grand Sonora Desert. Franklin was convicted of only 2 professional hits, but his resume was in the hundreds of others, all inadmissible in a court of law. Now he was free again. Once Franklin left Bolingbroke, he vanished into San Andreas, free to kill again. And once Franklin found his way to Los Santos, he reconnected with his partner in crime, Mike DeSanta, a notorious robber and killer whose record was long, frighteningly long, and rich in homicides.
Give me whatever you got in the register. Okay, don't hurt me.
Come on! Faster!
I'm hurting! There's no more! I promise!
DeSanta had become notorious for his extremely violent nature and absolute disregard for anyone's safety. The man would plow through a wedding at 80 miles an hour if it meant getting away. But Clinton and DeSanta were only muscle for the big boss, and he was the most dangerous of them all. Trevor Phillips was a card-carrying psychopath in and out of prison mental hospitals for years, till he escaped Pescadero State Hospital in 2011.
Oh no!
Okay! Empty the register now!
Please don't use the
I'm doing my best. Let's go! Screw you!
And Phillips now controlled a cult in the mountains up north, with dozens of followers who would do anything he asked. From mid-August to late September of 2012, nothing was heard of these 3 men, but crime statewide had begun to spike during those months, and state and local police and sheriff's departments did what they could against the rising tide of lawlessness these individuals fermented against innocent civilians as well as cops. The turning point in this case came in late September 2012, when state and local law enforcement discovered that the Los Santos headquarters of the Lost Motorcycle Gang was storehousing caches of illegal weapons, and on the night of September 28, 2012, a raid was conducted.
Wait! What? I didn't get it!
Bikers held the police at bay for a short time until reinforcements could arrive, and by then the death toll was already high. flying officer Ryan Gremlin Chadwick was the last to die when a stray bullet struck the natural gas tank he was standing in front of. The next morning, Franklin Clinton was holed up in one of several lavish hideouts kept by the organization, completely unaware of the events of the last 18 or so hours, until he turned on the TV by chance.
Man, this stuff does nothing for me. Nothing at all. Fuck, I should get something. What's wrong, man? It's doing nothing. So why do I...
Up and Adam, food from when we were morally superior.
This is Wallace Cardle with a News 5 special report. Police officer Calvin Hobbs, age 25, has died at Mount Zona Medical Center from his wounds. Hobbs is the 9th officer to die from the raid of a biker weapons warehouse in downtown LS last night, with the death toll now standing at 24, with some 37 wounded or injured. To repeat, police officer 24, dead from injuries sustained in last night's biker raid. More on the story as it develops, and on the News 5 11 o'clock report.
See, it's me.
Franklin immediately proceeded to tell Phillips everything from the news report, and Phillips called for an immediate meeting at the call's headquarters up north in the mountains. He was not pleased that his weapons cache was taken and his bikers killed. He was already planning massive retaliation. Within minutes, Mike DeSanta had been advised by phone of the situation, and minutes after that, all three men would be heading up north to the Chumash compound. DeSanta and Clinton by car, and Phillips would drive himself to the heliport for air transport up the mountain. All three were cautious. They hadn't seen one another face to face since before Franklin was sent to Boiling Grove. So they were all also aware of the seriousness of the situation. They had all lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in weapons in the raid, and they were furious about it. Trevor in particular, as the lost bikers were his charges, and he took their deaths as a personal affront. Meanwhile, just outside his small rented apartment complex near Vespucci Beach, Trevor Phillips wouldn't need the place anymore. He terminated his lease by killing the landlord, John Darvin, before leaving for the heliport.
Another turd chop? Oh, I gotta school your ass.
And at the safe house in Vinewood Hills, Franklin Clinton left his bull mastiff Chop in the care of unwitting neighbors. While he was up north on business, he told them, tribe of Chumash cult. It's existed since the late 1960s, when hippies converted an abandoned mining town, carved out of the side of Mount Chumash. Once beneficent people who only wanted peace, they were now under the control of Trevor Phillips, and they had become dangerous and paranoid. The only means of getting to the compound were a single-lane road or by helicopter, as Phillips preferred to travel there. Security was tight around the complex that early evening, and while tribe members ate their evening meals, Trevor, DeSanta, and Clinton discussed plans, ways, and means, took stock of their resources, and they all agreed that biker raid in Vinewood couldn't go unpunished, ultimately deciding on spreading as much terror and destruction as they were capable of. A handful of cultists within earshot reported to authorities that one of the other two men, they aren't sure if it had been Clinton or DeSanta, may have asked Phillips if he wasn't concerned the move might be too risky for them. Phillips is reported to have walked to the edge of a nearby cliff where a single cultist, known to the brethren as Uncle Sumlo, had stood meditating. Suddenly, and without hesitation, Trevor Phillips kicked the man off the cliff to his death sunk 100 feet below. Even to hardened killers like DeSanta and Clinton were taken aback by Trevor's actions. They knew Trevor was all in, but they had also realized they were trapped in this remote place with a certifiable lunatic. Trevor walked back to the other two and said calmly, "You see, I don't give a fuck." The next day, however, a dozen or so members of the tribe were angry over the senseless killing of Uncle Sumlo and were mounting an insurrection.
You're about to bleed, shithead! I've had enough of your shit! Had enough of you assholes on welfare! Shit, man! Help someone go ahead. Hey, hangers on!
The loyalists in the tribe had kept inside. By the time it was over a dozen cultists were dead, killed by the leader, whose wounds they would now heal. With the final insurgent put down, Trevor Phillips returned to planning the crippling of a city, while DeSanta and Clinton returned to the city to await further instructions. For the first few weeks of October 2012, the plan was to have spies recon potential targets all over the state. Trevor's best spy, Dan Hollingsworth, had arranged the non-technical all-new sidekick, so named because of the tattoo of Charles Manson on his chest, which spoke to him and him alone. Sidekick was a special kind of crazy, but he wouldn't kill anyone until ordered to, like the good, insane soldier he was. He left the compound for a safe house in Sandy Shores. Sidekick waited for orders in the dilapidated trailer and spent far too much time arguing with himself in his madness. After only waiting a few days, the orders came in via text on Sidekick's burner phone. Recon sites, relay info. Once complete, step 2 will be sent.
It's the boss who need it. That's the orders come through, right? When you're gonna win some souls for me, man. Come on, don't hold out on me, yo jackal. You know how I hate suspense.
Huckster!
Yeah, that's it. Get mad. The corporate stooges. We'll get them all. Just you and me, kid. Just you and me. Bro, this car sucks. Pull into the parking lot and let's pick ourselves out a nice ride for our little mission.
Tis a reckoning.
Damn, Chuto. You finna get us killed.
They found me!
Yeah, boy. Here, let me miracle this bitch open. So long, losers. Ah. I'm feeling it, you. Take out the gate, man. I love that issue. Shit was lit, homie. Now, let's get that info for the boss. You're on a mission from me, boy.
In the days that followed, Sidekick carefully scanned all details of potential targets, right down to times of heaviest foot and vehicular traffic, to inflict maximum damage. He monitored the comings and goings of police patrols, the timeliness of responses to fire emergencies. No detail was too small for Sidekick, who had been doing his job well.
Hey, man, I am like bored as fuck with all this statistics crap. Let's waste some dudes.
What the shit do you think you're doing? You got what going on?
My trigger finger getting itchy. You.
Jealous? Hey! What if my wife replaces me at my job? That
Yeah, sneak up on him like that, man. Now, go get me some government stooges. Be damned, that was beautiful. Now hit the wheel and get us out of here. Don't be stingy with them horses you heard.
My involvement with the case began just before October 31st, 2012. These mass-murdering dogs sent warnings to all the major media outlets, both electronically and by phone, with a credible threat to national security now made. The director put me in charge of a group of agents with the purpose of catching or stopping these individuals from doing any serious harm. I was dreading the thought of what could happen on the 31st, when these men and their army of associates would be turned loose on this city. The things I had imagined were timid, held up against the harsh reality of these men's actions. With the warnings out, authorities did what they could. All emergency personnel were on emergency standby. Police patrols were as beefed up as the manpower shortage would allow, and citizens were advised to stay home this Halloween. Many did stay home. Many more didn't, and many of them wouldn't live to regret the decision. Trevor Phillips arrived in the city by early evening to one of the garages quietly run by the tribe, and when he emerged, it was behind the wheel of a heavily armored muscle car, packing enough firepower to reduce an LSPD patrol car and its occupants into hot molten slag. The densely armored interior was not unlike the cockpit of a fighter jet, and now he, Mike DeSanta, and Franklin Clinton would take 3 of these war machines out on the streets of Los Santos. Any concerns about safety left the mind of Mike DeSanta as he sat behind the wheel of his muscle car tank. He wasn't afraid of cops. He wasn't afraid of anything anymore. He felt as if all three of them were in absolute charge of this situation. And while Franklin did feel a bit more confident about what was about to happen, the fact that they were all taking their lives into their own hands just to prove a point just stayed at the back of Clinton's mind as he approached his destination in Vinewood right on the Strip. The ringleaders alone were only part of the impending threat. Every criminal organization within the state owed some degree of loyalty to Phillips, Clinton, and DeSanta, known in underworld circles as the mass-murdering dogs, and they all had secret operatives in the street, waiting to strike at midnight November 1st, All Saints' Day.
I can go for some good, hard EP right now. True that.
They could be anyone, anywhere, but many were waiting for the stroke of 12.
What do you want, Brett?
You!
Oh, I'm done raising that little shit. He's your problem. What do you want, Brett?
You!
Well, I'm done raising that little shit. He's your problem.
Many more still were just independent crazies, looking for an excuse to commit mayhem normally out of their reach. Just minutes to go, Phillips, DeSanta, and Clinton and their death machines were all their assigned targets, with thousands of other underlings, and who knew how many thousand more random psychos would be running the streets. And while it all seemed impossible, like something from a Batman comic book, the difference here was that this was a true thing about to happen, with no superhero to even back law enforcement up. All we could do was watch and wait, and the wait wasn't long.
Midnight, not a sound from the pavement. Hey, everybody, it's midnight and time for the world-acclaimed Gary Tawdry Show. Tops an overnight talk here on Caps Radio. And hey, Halloween has come and gone, and we're all still here, right? Still no sign of the big bad crime wave all the tinfoil hats in this town have been just swearing was gonna happen tonight. And it looks like Gary Tawdry, was right about all this just being a bunch
Fuck
of bull.
you.
But here tonight on the hotline, we've got San Andreas Governor Jock Cranley. And we'll see what we can sort out as fact from fiction. And as always, the lines are open. That's 555-2150. Maybe one of them. Criminal masterminds in the phone and explain why the city isn't on fire right now.
Suck my dick!
cars 2 and 3. Cars 2 and 3 are clear to engage. Repeat, cars 2 and 3 are clear to engage.
All three men stood amazed for a moment, marveling at the accuracy of Sidekick's estimates on police response time, almost down to the second. Now would be the time to make their getaway somewhere outside the city, taking out as many of the pursuing cops as they could. Franklin Clinton would fight his way to a safe zone somewhere within the city, surrounded by police and SWAT officers. He would use this heavily armored vehicle to break through their ranks. Mike DeSanto would have to sprint back to his vehicle and pull out of the business district before the ever-growing number of police overwhelmed him. As for Trevor Phillips, he vanished into the intricate network of tunnels beneath the city. had made it out managing to outrun the law this time, but they also were all keenly aware this was only the first attack, and tomorrow would be here in just a few short hours. Mass murdering dogs had ignited violence all over the city, and it was spreading quickly to the outskirts of Los Santos. With Phillips DeSanta and Clinton in the wind, my partner, Special Agent Ben Jones, and I were tracking down leads to others who might have taken part in this nasty bit of terrorism. One of those leads took us to Stab City, once the desert headquarters of the lost motorcycle gang. It was now abandoned and derelict, but the lead was that a girl seen lobbing hand grenades on Haywick Avenue last night might be there. So Ben and I visited the site alone just before dawn. We monitored the site from a discreet distance. Aside from abandoned trailers and a few junk cars, no one had been here for a long time. No one, that is, but the wildlife.
Man, not delighted.
Good, you got him before he got you. How do you tag him so fast?
He had me on the ground. I swear to God, Jack, I never got up so fast in my whole life. Damn thing was trying to rip out my throat.
Look, some of those claw marks look pretty bad. Let's forget about this for now and get you checked out.
Okay, I'll quit for today, but promise me something, Jack.
What is it, Ben?
Make sure you bag the right wild animals.
Ben's stupid-ass joke couldn't have been less funny or more ill-timed, because just an hour after leaving Special Agent Smith at the Paleto Bay Hospital, I, along with several LSPD units, were tracking down reports that Franklin Clinton was seen around his old haunts on Grove Street, the heart of a hood with no heart. But if several people claimed he was seen, true or not, it had to be followed up.
Federal agent, down on the ground now!
The tip was false, nothing more than a way of roping law enforcement into an ambush.
Kill him!
Our cops and agents were dying on the streets, and I had wasted hours following useless leads, and we were no closer to Franklin, DeSanta, or Trevor Phillips. And as for the three most wanted men in the state, well, we didn't know it at the time. None of them even left the city, but kept moving around, waiting for the 3 armored death machines to be fully repaired for the next strike. We had to stop them before they did, but Franklin stayed one step ahead of police. Michael DeSanta probably stayed in the Rockford Hills area, near his home, possibly at a nearby motel, under an assumed name. The only one whose whereabouts we knew was Trevor Phillips. The madman returned to the apartment complex near Vespucci Beach, staying in the apartment of John Darvin, the landlord he had killed. The apartment was searched after Phillips had left for the last time. What police found inside sickened even seasoned veterans to the depths of their souls. John Darvin's live-in partner, Kyle Westervelt, was found severely beaten and in a catatonic state. No one knows what Westervelt saw or what was done to him, as he has never again spoken another word, and is now living out at the Juniper Hills Psychiatric Center in Gatos Muertos. By noon that day, another incident would occur in the Grand Sonora Desert that would break the case and lead us to all the mass murdering dogs. It happened at the Yellow Jack Inn, just off the main highway. The Yellow Jack was an open, early closed, late sort of dive, infested with some of the lowest class of people you could imagine. It was here that the tribe's spy sidekick was having far too much to drink far too early in the day, and he and his talking tattoo were spoiling for a fight.
I'm telling ya, the guy sitting closest to the barkeep, he's a government stooge.
RWL! Huckster!
Corporate stooge!
That guy right in front of her. The one that smells like sweat vinaigrette. He's a stooge. Honest.
Government stooge!
I can smell it on him, Danny boy. Yeah, that's it. Get in his fucking face. He's afraid of you, man.
RWL! Huckster! You won't take me alive!
Jeez,
You're
I've had
a
enough
fucking
of your
asshole.
shit.
Oh, so you
Shit,
guys
man.
want to catch these hands too? Yeah.
I'll kick your fucking teeth.
How do you like that butt face? Missed me, bitch. Hi, you look like a bitch. Fuck. You.
This is insane.
Corporate stooge! Government stooge!
Crazy! Well, fuck.
There! Please don't shoot us, mister!
Huckster!
Shit, boy. Your crazy ass done gone and done it now.
Government stooge! RWL!
You're a jerk. Look what they did to my pretty face. No good government stooge motherfuckers. Peekaboo motherfuckers. Corporate stooge. Okay, look, man. Maybe I took shit a little too far this time, okay? My bad. Man, if you can get us out of this, I swear to Dad, I'll shut the fuck up and let you handle shit from now on. It's no good. The back door's locked. Fuck are we gonna do now, Danny boy?
Government stooge! Take cover!
Have you lost our mind, sir? This is a fucking police car. We can't outrun him in this piece of shit.
Government stooge!
Bro, maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe give ourselves up now. outside of the police car. Oh, my me, the train. The son of a bitchin' train. You fucking crazy-ass genius. Now's your chance, Danny. Take out that chopper motherfucking Rambo style.
Government stooge!
You glorious son of a bitch. I knew you'd get us out of that deep shit at the bar. Fuck yeah. America.
While Sidekick made good his escape from authorities, he left behind a good amount of evidence that helped us make our case against the mass-murdering dogs. Left behind at the Yellow Jack, hundreds of shell casings were traced back to an ammunition store on Spanish Avenue in Vinewood, and store surveillance cameras picked up on the purchaser of the bullets. We had them, but getting them in front of a judge to face justice was another matter. As the days went on, the criminals became even bolder, going so far as to firebomb police headquarters, killing 4 and wounding dozens more. thug in Koreatown. And while he managed to stop the man, the wounds he had sustained were just too overwhelming. He bled out on that very spot. That day was the last time I saw Ben alive.
LSPD has the shooter in custody. It's a death penalty offense. I know that don't help much, Jack, but he's not getting away with it.
It was good of you to come, Dave. Ben, he had no family at all. Used to say that's why he loved the job. He never had to worry, he said, about breaking a family's heart.
Survives a cougar attack and dies on the streets. This world's a bitch on wheels, Jack. Well, we're his family, and I want those 3 sons of bitches dead or alive.
He made me promise I would. I'm gonna keep that promise, Dave.
You're goddamn right you are, and I'll back you to the hilt. Whatever you need, Jack. Manpower, weapons, whatever resources you need to make this happen. I'm gonna sign off on it. You got my word on it. Shit. I can't be here anymore. I'll see you at the office in the morning.
As Dave, Section Chief David Greenland, left to get back in his car, I didn't make any vows of revenge. Instead, I realized that, with the way things were going, with cops and agents dying by the scores daily, what happened to Ben was probably going to happen to me. No, I didn't swear any graveside oaths. I do it because that was my duty, and even in this sound place, all around me were the reminders of the things I still had left to do.
sure to join us next time on our RWL movie special, when we will present Mass Murdering Dogs Part 2. Coming up next, RWL Championship Wrestling.